I'm drawing a line. Men are mice. What'll it be?
The midpoint. An extremely important turning point in your story. Theorist Christopher Vogler says this is where the hero first flirts with embracing the thematic change. This is true. Syd Field says the midpoint scene is a moment of great emotion, often a reversal of fortune. Also true. I say it's the location of one of your biggest set pieces, and I agree with myself. But the most important function of the midpoint is this. By the end of your midpoint sequence, your characters will pass a crossroads. They will be unable to revert back to their former selves. Their only choice is to move forward into danger, embrace change, and finish their adventure. Michael Haugen calls this the point of no return. In Jaws, after Brody's son Michael is attacked by the shark, Brody has no choice left but to take matters into his own hands.
I'm gonna hire Quint to kill the shark.
And form his clear goal for the rest of the story. Today, we're talking about the all-important midpoint. Hi, I'm Jonathan Stokes, and this is Raising the Stakes, Essays About Story.
Let's ride!
Let's get into it. In The Karate Kid, Daniel spends the first half of the movie getting beaten up and running away. Finally, at midpoint, he's beaten so severely that he cannot continue to live this way. So this happens.
Name a place.
Tournament.
Now, Daniel moves from reactive to proactive. He has a goal, the All-Valley Karate Championship. If they don't show up, it'll be open season on both Daniel-san and Miyagi. So Daniel has no choice. He must begin his training with Miyagi and embracing the change he's been resisting. In The Bourne Identity, Jason Bourne is on the run for his life for all of Act 2A. It's not until an intense midpoint scene, when he fights a man to the death, that he realizes this cannot go on. This will never end. He must find Treadstone and solve the mystery of his own identity.
These people know who I am. I gotta stay here. I gotta figure this out.
So figure it out.
In Die Hard, Bruce Willis is not trying to be an action hero for the first half of the movie. He's hiding and trying to call the police. It's not until the midpoint that Bruce Willis realizes the cavalry can't be counted on to save the day. He's going to have to become proactive and take the fight into his own hands. Syd Field, in 1979, is the first guy to define this structure, and first to define the midpoint. I would go further and say that every act has a midpoint. I find that the call to adventure is almost always the exact midpoint of Act 1. Call it page 12 and a half of a 100-page screenplay. Meanwhile, the peak of the drama in the Act 3 climax, or resurrection, when the hero appears to die, is often the midpoint of Act 3. Writers, note that you can tell where your story is too scrawny or too bloated by checking these signposts in your script. You don't really have to do this if you're a novelist, but if you're writing for a studio, you probably should. All story theorists since Syd Field define the midpoint as the 50% mark, and they're right, but I'd like to propose a little topspin. In my experience, the midpoint tentpole scene with great emotional turmoil happens at the 50% mark. But the moment the hero realizes they've reached the point of no return,
I'm gonna hire Quint to kill the shark.
happens immediately after this scene, around the 55% mark. To see why, it helps if we move from what's sometimes called a diachronic chart to a synchronic chart. Will Smith's production company uses a baseball diamond, while Joseph Campbell types often use a circle. See how it can't be equally easy for the hero to return home? I'll let Michael Douglas explain it from just after the midpoint of Falling Down.
Past the point of no return, Beth. Do you know when that is? That's the point in a journey where it's longer to go back to the beginning than it is to continue to the end.
Gina Davis in Thelma and Louise is more succinct.
Something's like crossed over in me, and I can't go back.
Yep, fast forward to halfway through every good movie, and you'll find a high-stakes emotional set piece, followed by this line in the sand moment.
I'm drawing a line.
That creates a new direction for the rest of the story. In Back to the Future, Marty McFly is just reacting and screwing up the past until a big midpoint set piece where his mom becomes so infatuated with him she asks him to the big dance. Marty must now form a plan to reunite his parents and fix history.
Okay, let's go over the plan again. 8:55, where are you gonna be?
In Castaway, Tom Hanks spends the first half of the movie reacting to his situation. It's not until the midpoint that he finds the porta potty that will become his sail and allow him to form an escape plan. In Legally Blonde, Elle has a fight with her boyfriend at midpoint and decides she's going to study hard and get the big internship.
I'll show you how valuable Elle Woods can be.
Rocky's going to start to prepare to fight Creed. The hero discovers they cannot go backward, they must go forward. So when you structure your stories, think about this point of no return moment. And now that you know this, there is no turning back. Your only path is forward.